Okay. We
Yay!
seem to be live. I
We
think we're
are
live.
live.
Let's see. Now,
Yay,
does it?
yay.
Oh, hey. Seems like it's streaming to mine as well. Or it's going to be.
Right.
It says upcoming, according
Okay.
to. I've got it on my phone. Oh, nope, there it goes. Maybe.
Ooh.
Something
Okay.
happened. What did I do? Oh, I did that.
Okay.
Subscriptions. Let's see. It says I'm live. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Gotta
Good.
mute that really quick. Otherwise, we have that wonderful ringing in the ears that I already have plenty of. I don't need help there.
Woohoo!
Okay, it is official. We are now live. It's our third live stream, but this is our second round of ekphrasis.
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I was thinking about this morning, or yesterday, I was making that list going, isn't this our third one? But
This
no.
is our third one.
It was our second round.
Yep.
But yeah, because each round is for two writing
Except
and two.
that the first one, we only did a live stream at the end of the process.
Right.
This time we did a live stream at the beginning of the process.
And the end.
And then at the end. And we thought sometime in May. And it's the last day of July.
Here we are. That's why when I got sick, I'm like, you know what? No, we just need to do this because this will probably be the last time we have this year to do this.
I think looking at my calendar, that may be very much the case. Yeah.
So,
January.
Yes. So maybe then we're covering the end of the list now. Are we going to do another round?
Probably. I'd love to do another round.
Yeah, so, but that'll be next year. Because too busy moms.
Next year sounds wonderful.
Too busy moms.
So, folks, those of you who are joining us, returning friends and fans, or new to our channels, new to the live stream, I'm Marta Ferguson,
and I am Hope Martin,
and I am a writer,
and I am a visual artist.
And Hope and I have known each other a long time. We've collaborated on writing and art projects in the past. And so about, a year and a half ago, we thought it would really be fun to do that again.
Isn't that long?
I think so, because I think it was last summer that we were doing our first one. So, I guess a year ago, not a year and a half, maybe last spring. I don't know. We'd have to go check the archive. What we're having a whole lot of fun doing is giving each other pieces of art, and then each of us responds to the art given by the other, because I'm the author of Demeter West and the Ghost Town Glitch, Demeter West, the Absent Presence. Thank you, Hope. And what we are kind of doing in these live streams, what we're having fun with in these art exchanges, is the world that I write in. These are paranormal, cozy mysteries. They're tremendous fun. But the setting is Casper, which is a fictional college town in Missouri that might bear some resemblance to, say, an actual college town in the middle of Missouri, that Hope might know something about, and I might know something about. And so what we're having fun with in these art exchanges, in these ekphrastic exchanges, is that we are populating Casper with various flora and fauna from the parallel worlds that intersect in Casper as both college town and cosmic crossroads. So we did an exchange last year. We've done another exchange this year, and we're kind of winding up. This is the second. We did a live stream in anticipation of doing the exchange this year. So then now this is the live stream to close out that second exchange. So.
Very cool. Yes. Do we want to start by reading the first part of this round and then do the grand reveal?
I think that'd be great. Sure.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Let's see. Now, I think I can show. Maybe. I've done this once. See, it won't let me change my screen now. All right, help me out, Marta. How did I share my screen last time?
Okay, let's see. There is a share slides button right at the bottom where you see mute, stop cam settings.
Share. I think that's where it was last time and I couldn't find it, right?
That's
Share
okay.
screen.
Mhm.
Okay, so I have a handy dandy Chrome tab open with the Moody Woods.
Mhm.
Can you see it there? Hopefully, eventually. My screen went dark. Hopefully yours did not.
My screen looks good.
Fabulous. So there is the Moody Woods I did, and you wrote a wonderful piece about this being as part of the Casper parallel universe, which I thought was absolutely wonderful.
One of the places that intersects Casper.
Mm-hmm. Did you want to read that, or do we want to just skip through?
I can go ahead and read the piece I wrote in response to that. Give me just a sec to pull that up.
And this piece was kind of a sketch I did. Yeah, it wasn't super planned in soft pastels on dark sanded paper. UArt is the brand if you're curious.
Let's see. Hope you've got several variations on.
Yes, I've been playing with it a lot.
Pull some of those up.
Let's see.
The piece I wrote does go into those variations. So why don't we show folks those variations?
Let me get those up then, because I do not have those ready. Now, hopefully, oh gosh, are you seeing my other screen? Do I need to switch back?
I am only seeing the initial slide right now.
Okay, good. Because I don't have anything in there quickly loaded. Let's see. But I have a folder. Been calling them Moody Woods, although they're not. I don't know that Moody is the right term necessarily.
I think I had ended up calling them the Haunted Woods because that's the whole thing in Casper. These bleeds from other parallel worlds, this ability to see into these other intersecting realities, everything looks ghostly. Everything looks as though you're walking through a very haunted place, except that you're not seeing the past. You're seeing something in parallel elsewhere. So it was really fun to take something that Hope had that felt moody and haunted, and then to just pull that right into what I was working on in Casper.
Let's see, just about there. I think one of the ones you referenced was the green one.
I think I can even pull. I can tell you that in just a second. All right, you're going to see my eyes. You won't see my screen, but you're going to see my eyes focus down into the document.
Okay, I have got the green one, and hopefully this won't blow up if I just paste that link in.
Blue and green, even red and yellow sometimes.
So there's the green one, which I was really happy with, but it's super small. Getting it enlarged has been not possible, so I need to find a way to redo that in a larger form. And then there was this blue one in the sketchbook. Hopefully that will show. That one right there on the right of the violin beetle. That was one of the blue ones. And so, those little cat-like figures, just kind of wherever they end up being. I don't try and plan those too much. They just sort of, I try to let them plan themselves. Otherwise, I find they look too stiff, Oops, I went back too far, didn't I?
Okay. Nice little chance to see some of Hope's other art.
Sneak preview there. All right, now I'm back to where that was. There's the bluish one with the roads, because I thought of horses. If I end up redoing this one, which I may, maybe have someone on a horse, a shadowy figure towards the back, perhaps, would tie it in more.
Okay.
All right, so you're ready.
I'm going to now read you. This was our first exchange last year. We have set each of these up as an entry in the Casper Convention and Visitors Bureau Ghostly Plant Guide or Ghostly Wildlife Guide. So because this is a haunted woods, this is part of the CVB's Ghostly Plant Guide. Welcome to the CVB's Ghostly Plant Guide. If you're visiting our city, you've probably noticed that we have some residents who aren't all there. Like New Orleans and a few other haunted cities, Casper functions as a cosmic nexus. According to our physicists and other paranormal experts, Casper is a thin spot where the boundaries between parallel worlds are more visible, if not more permeable, than they are elsewhere. This means that we see a lot of ghosts here. It can be disconcerting at first, but keep in mind such visions have no substance. They can't hurt you. You are safe with us. Sadly, you also won't be able to capture all of our wonders on film. Sketching, painting, and other artistic interpretations of our ghostly visitors are encouraged, and our tour schedules are set up around such opportunities. Bear in mind, our ghosts are shy of the limelight, so most of them can only be seen after dark or in particularly dark or shady spots, indoors or out. Those of you in our certified haunted hotels know what we mean. As part of our mission at the CVB, we want to make your visit here as enjoyable as possible. To that end, we are constantly compiling and updating our records on favorite ghostly manifestations from other universes. We have a catalog of other known universes that Casper residents have encountered, with descriptions of frequent visitors from those universes. That's a really big book. So we have this guide for ghostly plants and its companion for ghostly wildlife. As we know, many of you who visit are ardent birders or gardeners and may not be interested in an encyclopedic approach to the nature of nature in Casper. Not all of our ghostly companions can be seen all the time, and some appear more often than others. The list below will give you some of the more common examples of ghostly plants you might see around town. Each listing will give you the name our scientists have given to the creatures in question, their most likely universe of origin, and any relevant tour information. Enjoy! Feel free to ask your tour guide any questions. So then that's the kind of pattern that goes with each entry. This is the particular entry relevant to, I did call it the Moody Woods universe. Okay.
Okay.
So,
cool.
Yeah, I was following you. Name, Hollings College Bridle Path. We did have a couple of people ask about this during the last live stream. Mm-hmm. If you do horse stuff, I think it makes more sense because it's not bridle, B-R-I-D-A-L, it's bridle, B-R-I-D-L-E. It's a little horse path through the woods, such as you might lead or ride a horse with a bridle, right?
Or you can do bridle shots on the bridle path.
There you go. Oh, yeah. If you're doing wedding photography, and now we're into playing with the words again. Okay, so this, my response to Hope's beautiful sketches of the Moody Woods my response was to create the Hollings College Bridle Path. Universe of origin, the Moody Woods universe, tour information. Walking tours organized by this office at dusk on Friday nights from May through September. Horseback tours can be arranged through the Hollings College stables. Contact information is provided in our list of partner organizations. I should probably say at this point, Casper is fictional in its entirety. There is no Casper, Missouri. There is no town in Missouri where parallel worlds intersect and, academic politics are involved and, witchcraft and science and all of that. Nor is it culturally pagan, which is a big part of all the books. So this is fiction, folks. Just go with us. It's imagination.
What's the term? Cozy fiction? Cozy sci-fi?
Paranormal cozy mysteries.
Paranormal cozy mystery. Got it.
Yep. And that cozy term generally refers to, I'm hearing people use cozy fantasy now also. Cozy mystery has been in use for decades. Cozy fantasy, I think, is a newer term. Paranormal cozy, I know, is a very new term, really just the last 5 years. Okay. And I do hear it as paranormal cozy rather than cozy paranormal. But it tends to mean work that certainly incorporates mystery elements or fantasy elements or paranormal elements, as mine does, but that goes light on the violence, heavier on in the mystery context, on the puzzle element than on the graphic element. Yeah, expect something to be funny, expect something to be quirky. Those are all kinds of things that go in with that cozy term too. So moving on. As many of you know, here in Casper, we call our visitors from other universes friendlies. Most friendlies give off a soft blue glow, and sometimes that's all you see. However, most of the time when you're seeing into one of the various parallel universes that intersect but do not interact with our Casper, you'll see that universe as though it were real but translucent blue. If you try to put a hand through or walk through one of our friendlies or one of the landscapes or buildings that are sometimes visible, you just go through it. And yet sometimes there are places that don't behave even according to Casper's tentative norms. The Hollings College Bridle Path is one of the places that doesn't follow those rules. Even in daylight, the Moody Woods tend to remain dusky. The trees we can identify all appear to be deciduous, a mix primarily of maples, birches, oaks, cypress, and locust. The light visible in the Moody Woods changes regularly, blue, green, even red or yellow sometimes. Challenging for both horse and rider, hiker and random squirrel, is the fact that there are indeed trees in the woods that are physically present. Then there are trees that appear to be there but are insubstantial, shimmering into our visual spectrum from their own parallel universe. And because the lighting changes, it's not always clear which is which. As a consequence, horses that train on our bridle path are uniquely steady and given to trusting their riders for cues rather than their eyes. Riders and hikers enjoy the challenge of finding their way through the Moody Woods as though they were an ever-changing maze. Small creatures, presumably from the Moody Woods universe itself, frequently appear at the edges of the path. Many claim these dark cat-like beings are guides who will get you safely through, but folks experienced with the Moody Woods will tell you they are tricksters and given to pranks. Sometimes clusters of other small lights appear. Fairies, fireflies, certainly unique creatures on about their business in this magical forest. Tours of the Moody Woods are open to all ages, but walking sticks are highly recommended, and those with visual impairments or mobility issues should speak to their guides about our adaptive tools and strategies.
Very cool.
All right.
That's so cool. I love that.
You too.
Awesome.
That
Now,
was so fun.
the second part of that was your Casper Oropendula,
Right.
which I had to go look up what those were. I had never seen one before. They're kind of crazy little birds.
I thought you would really enjoy drawing them. That
I
was like,
did.
when I was looking around, I was like, ooh, and I think I could write something really fun about them.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that is the Oropendula that I did after, took me several tries, but I was kind of going for the field guide look or trying.
Absolutely. And I think you
then,
nailed it.
looking to deep sea creatures for inspiration on the glow, how to look transparent but still look like there's something there.
Right.
It's a fine line.
Uh-huh.
Definitely. So this was colored pencil on it's a black drawing paper that I'm growing increasingly frustrated with, and I'm gonna have to switch because this one the reason I have these photos already taken is that it reflects the light really badly. So getting a good photograph is almost impossible given my equipment at hand, so which is an iPhone. So so yeah, you can see it up there in the kind of the upper right hand corner, or at least as I'm looking at it. Hopefully it's not too flipped for you guys.
I think that looks great.
So there he is. And they're just amazing creatures.
So last year when we did this, I started with Hope's picture of the Moody Woods, and then I wrote that little bit about the Hollings College Bridle Path. And then I wrote this piece, and Hope in response created the Oropendula that you see before you. And I'm now going to read you what Hope had to start with in order to create that work of art. All of these that are part of the Casper Convention and Visitors Bureau Ghostly Wildlife Guide or Ghostly Plant Guides, they all begin with that initial patter. So I'm not going to repeat that. What I will read you is the entry in the guide for our Oropendula. Okay. Name: Sarcoleus Montezuma casparius. Universe of origin: the Ghost Tree Universe. Tour information: campus ghost tour Sunday night, sketching hour Sunday night. Times vary seasonally depending on sunset. The Sarcoleus Montezuma casparius, more commonly known as the Casper Oropendula, frequents the outer reaches of the gigantic cypress on the university campus known as the Ghost Tree. These beautiful birds tend to nest about a story or so above the ground, so dark-adapted binoculars are recommended for detailed observation. If you book the campus ghost tour on Sunday night or the Ghost Tree sketching hour after, you are likely to see these magnificent flyers. Offered as proof of the many theories supporting environmental drivers for the evolution of similar species in different locations, these ghostly oropendulas bear a strong resemblance to their cousins here in our universe. Like our oropendulas, the male birds are larger, about 25 inches long, with the females nearly half that size at about 12 inches in length. Note that the Casper oropendulas have even more difference in size between males and females than do our native oropendulas. We believe both genders of Casper oropendulas have colorful heads and beaks, dark bodies, and lighter colored wings and tails. Given their translucent nature, such details are hard to determine. You'll have to investigate for yourself. Of note with Casper oropendulas is that both male and female birds display increased wing size and more developed musculature through the neck and back than do their cousins in our universe. Both species of oropendula somewhat resemble species of seabirds, who dive for prey and must be able to navigate in air or in a few inches of water to hook elusive fish. But that tendency is more pronounced in the Casper oropendula. In the Ghost Tree universe, gravity is lower and the atmospheric density is higher. So the birds in the Ghost Tree are swimming through the air as much as they are flying through it. The bugs they eat tend to be larger as well. A last short note on the Casper oropendulas is about their amazing nests. Their cousins here in our world build hanging nests of mud and grass way out in the most fragile branches, to keep predators away. That's why the female birds must be smaller. Due to the unique nature of the Ghost Tree universe, the nests of the Casper oropendulas float as much as they hang, more like egg sacs than nests. The mother birds must tend them most delicately. The nests also serve to incubate and contain the fledglings so they don't float away. We generally see a nice hatch for a few weeks each summer, 1 or 2 babies per nest. Seeing a clutch of Casper oropendula fledglings emerge from their nests, almost floating away in their feathery lightness, is a real highlight for any Casper visitor, birder or not. Ask your tour guide for more information on the timing of this phenomenon.
Awesome.
So that's what Hope had to work with to create the lovely specimen you see before you.
Yeah, it took several tries to get it to where it, I don't know, looked like it could be possible and not ungainly, maybe, you know. Looked at different seabirds. I think I looked at, is it osprey? I want to say I looked at some ospreys, just at how their wings kind of look like they unhinge, and just some of their proportions to maybe, pattern it after that. But yeah.
I spent a lot of years in Nebraska, the sandhill cranes. Watch
any
bird like that.
They're fun. They're fun.
Good stuff.
All
and I think,
right.
Again, Casper's native universe is not our native universe. Casper's
fiction, folks.
Again, folks, fictional.
Okay.
here in the actual world that we consent to call reality, oral pendulas, I think, are mostly South American, are they not?
Yes. And
Brazilian?
this one will be closer to the Montezuma or pendula
Yep.
that you kind of referenced in the name. So that's the one I went with. There are several others.
Right.
And yes, they have those long straw nests at the end of branches. And it's just this little dance the male does where he just kind of head up and then falls over. And then just falls over like he's being dramatic or something. I don't know. It's kind of funny.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it was super fun to imagine, okay, let's change the universe. And if we change the universe, what do those changes to the universe, how do they impact this one small thing? It's a long time science fiction writer exercise. You know, what am I looking at? How is it different if I'm looking at it through this lens?
Yeah.
You know, what is it different if I'm experiencing it in this way with these conditions changed? So I love that kind of thought experiment. So this has been super fun that we're getting to play with that around Casper in these different ways. So
all right, so that is the first half of the round, and now the moment we've all been waiting for.
Well, that was okay. Those were last year's, and now we've got this year's.
Oh, that's right. So we're still getting there. What is? Let's see. Here I am on my screen.
I started with this.
Yes.
I looked at your artwork and I was like, ooh, that's really interesting. I want to play with that. So tell us about this, Hope.
This was based on what at the time was the library's one read, which was the Gentleman in Moscow. So
Amor Towles.
Amor Towles, thank you. Amor Towles book. And yeah, the idea was to create something based on that piece. And I really just started reading it. And I was out in my chicken coop and I saw, we had chrysalises going up on different structures out around the yard. And I just started thinking about, well, they're kind of, confined in a good way, unless you really want to stay a caterpillar. So I just started playing with those in there. And the chicken coop wire itself, which is a hardware cloth mesh. If you know anything about chickens, chicken wire only keeps the chickens in. It keeps nothing out.
Okay.
So, but I obviously modified heavily that hardware cloth to match with the emerging golden spiral going on. And if you look at that little wispy thing there, and then these droplets or bubbles, if you will, correspond to the numbers 1, 1, 2, 3, 5.
Fibonacci sequence.
Yes. So kind of play with that in there, and then just really wanted to send the colors to far ends of the spectrum, just to play with the surreal. Third time's a charm. Surreality. There we go.
Yep.
Of the visuals here, and even the piece itself. If I zoom in, hopefully you will too, and you can see over here, it's actually wired to the backboard in the frame to kind of further enhance that feeling of being caged. Whether it's a natural or unnatural thing is up for interpretation. It's still confinement. So there you go.
So I love that this particular piece was, we're talking about this as the ekphrastic exchange. Ekphrastic is a big old Greek word, art about art. So I love that this piece has now twice gone through that cycle. You created this visually in response to Amor Towles' Gentleman in Moscow, right? That was, and then I've created a piece for the Casper CVB Wildlife Guide in response then to this piece that you created in response to Amor Towles. And I love that there are a lot of theorists out there. Stanley Fish says, Stanley Fish is an old comp and ret theorist, and his argument is, one of his big books, ironically, is called "There is no text in this class," meaning that the conversation of the class, the real text of the class, is in the interaction between teachers and students. And I think I love that for us, when we're doing this ekphrastic work, the real art, the real creative activity is in the exchange.
Doing. It becomes a verb.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love.
So I think that's tremendous fun. And we've got comments now in the live stream. So Mandy Booty has joined us to say hey. Thank you, Mandy, for joining us to say hey this afternoon. So I'm going to, since this is the visual piece that I started with back in March, and wrote a response to, and actually I'll read you the response, and then I've even got a kind of shorter follow-up to it. So again, we have the CVB patter. This is part of the Ghostly Wildlife Guide. Okay, I am going to attempt to pronounce this. This will be very exciting. This is Latin and Aztec. Chlamydoseclus quetzalcoatl, the frilly swim snake larva. Universe of origin is Octavia's Ocean. Tour information, the sentient kelp forest, which we'll hear more about the sentient kelp forest shortly. The sentient kelp forest, located in the mall food court, is visible in any low light conditions. Most nights at 8 p.m., the hour before the mall closes, mall management lowers the food court lights to enhance viewing. During the winter, the kelp and their companions are often visible long before that time. Though we are unsure about the boundaries of the kelp forest on 3 sides, it is clear that one end of the undersea kelp forest is bounded by a fence of unknown origin, not far from the mall's food court, though the fence itself cuts through the mall and into the parking lot on both sides and continues on for some distance, not entirely determined by observation. The creatures detailed in this particular entry have used this fence on more than one occasion to fasten their cocoons for metamorphosis. Cocooning appears to be a seasonal phenomenon, roughly occurring in what for Casper Prime, and I've started to refer to the Casper where most of the action of the novels happens as Casper Prime, which again, fictional folks, not our reality, but the primary fictional reality in which my novels are set. So cocooning appears to be a seasonal phenomenon, roughly occurring in what for Casper Prime is mid to late summer. During this time, young frilly swim snakes, who appear to hatch from eggs and look in their initial stages like eels or water snakes, cocoon themselves for a few weeks in structures like the one depicted here by one of our local artists. Most cocoons are 6 to 8 inches in length and 3 to 4 inches in diameter. It's unclear whether the bubbles collected around the cocoon have emerged from it or have collected around it. Debate among our exobiologists continues. What is clear is that on emergence, the frilly swim snakes are no longer purely aquatic, but are in fact amphibious. Not only do they appear to develop gills while cocooned, but they develop their characteristic wing-like frills as well. The frilly swim snake's scientific name derives from its resemblance in its adult amphibious form to Quetzalcoatl, the winged snake of Aztec legend. Naturally, Casper's scientists and their Mexican counterparts are studying the possibility that such legends may have emerged from similar creatures visible in thin spaces within the former Aztec Empire. Fully grown, the frilly swim snakes range from 6 to 12 feet in length, with each frill or wing measuring up to 3 feet in length or height. You may see them occasionally in the sentient kelp forest, but their hunting grounds, and they do appear carnivorous, seem to be deeper down. They seem to emerge from the depths to lay eggs in the early spring, and their young, often difficult to differentiate from the many water snakes and eels to be found in and around the sentient kelp forest, thrive in the forest's nutrient-rich waters prior to cocooning. Interested in seeing these fascinated creatures emerge from their cocoons, or in seeing the adults lay their eggs in the early spring, check with your tour guide for more information on likely emergence dates if you'll be in town in July or August. So, my addendum there is that I've created an amphibious creature that has deep sea hunting tendencies, which I think is problematic. So I need to rethink that section a little bit. It's nice to get at least the basic science right in the books.
Yes.
Yeah.
Someone will point it out.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's one of those things. As I was falling asleep the other night, I was like, wait a minute. Oh, let's see, folks. And if you've watched the channel, you know I'm always talking about revision. You know, I'm always talking about the drafting process. It's a great example. This is something that, okay, yeah, in an early draft, this got through, but okay, this is something to fix in a later draft.
There we go.
So
Mandy wrote, sentient kelp forest sounds lovely.
ooh, can we put comments up? There's a way.
Yes.
Can we share?
You just show comment after you hover over it.
Oh, should we show that one?
Yeah, show that one.
Ah, ooh.
I'm hiding behind it.
Nifty. Look at us go, technology. And of course,
but it reminded me of our conversation last time where you talked about your experience with a kelp forest, where they were sort of caressing you. And the thought of that just kind of freaks me out.
Oh, yeah. It was kind of wonderful, but also kind of freaksome.
Yes. I will never forget that. So as I was drawing mine, I was thinking about those kelp fronds, you know, caressing you, but to a point of like, okay, now you're in trouble.
Yeah, as they're picking my pockets. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, whatever. Yeah. All right, so are we ready for the next one?
Absolutely.
Dun, dun, dun. Hopefully it will show up. Well, again, it was difficult. I couldn't get a straight on shot of it, so I had to angle it, but I patterned it after bull kelp. Thing, you know, with and tried to, it was just something, I felt it needed something to give more hint into the sentience.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe without much background. If you're just looking at this going, is that an eye or a mouth in the middle? Either one would work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, excuse me. And then that little box fish. It's sort of a box fish. He's kind of, you know. Oh, goodness. I'm not able to control this. There we go. There we go. There he is.
I love that the teenagers in both of our lives think we're hilarious, that this is big tech for us.
Yeah. Like, whatever. They'll get over us. Excuse me. And then Octavia's tentacle is kind of back there in the background waiting for this imp who is not where it's supposed to be, apparently. And is going back to have a powwow, a talk with Octavia.
Yep. And of course then, so Hope created this work of art in response, where I responded to Hope's response to Amertol's novel. Hope wrote this in response to the following. I'm gonna pull this up on my okay. Again, we have the opening patter about the ghostly plant guide. And then name, sentient forest, Macrocystus casparius, universe of origin, Octavia's ocean, tour information. The sentient kelp forest located in the mall food court is visible in any low light conditions. Most nights at 8 p.m., the hour before the mall closes, mall management lowers the food court lights to enhance viewing. During the winter, the kelp and their companions are often visible long before that time. And we move into most kelp forests exist in ocean shallows, though kelp stalks themselves can grow to over 100 meters tall. Most kelp species have stalks a few inches thick, and those stalks produce long leaves called blades. They tend to resemble tall corn plants. Kelp stalks in our world are algae, and therefore somewhere between plants and animals. They feed on sunlight and nutrients from the water. Casper scientists believe that our sentient kelp forest exists in the shallows of Octavia's ocean. This universe of origin takes its name from its most popular resident, Octavia the octopus crossing guard. Octavia, an octopus about the size of one of our horses, lives in a cave-like structure in a small clearing within the kelp forest, also within the confines of the mall's food court. The presence of the kelp forest and Octavia herself in the mall are not coincidental. The mall's developer, owner, and general contractor worked together in the 1970s to build the structure around this regular group of Casper friendlies. Please note that our reference to Octavia as a crossing guard and to the kelp as sentient are based on observation and not empirical evidence. Many sea creatures, similar to our own aquatic populations, pass through this forest, and a number of them appear in particularly to be... A number of them appear in particular to be detained by Octavia herself. Though crossing guard became the popular way to refer to Octavia decades ago due to her habit of flinging a tentacle out in front of an organism in her territory, the nature of her interactions with other organisms is in question. She often appears to search those she has detained before dismissing them, and she generally keeps what she finds. More information about Octavia herself can be found in the Casper Convention and Visitors Bureau Ghostly Wildlife Guide. The kelp near her home, indeed most of the large The kelp near her home, indeed most of the large bladed stalks that make up the forest, interact with passing fish and other sea life in ways that seem to human observers to be driven by curiosity rather than random chance or even primitive instinct. While the kelp of Octavia's ocean, like our own, appear to be stalks of roughly 12 to 18 feet in height with holdfasts that secure them to the ocean floor. Again, they're not roots because kelp are in between plants and animals. An algae has a holdfast, not a root structure. Holdfasts that secure them to the ocean floor. Unlike the kelp of our world, these sessile beings frequently pat or pet aquatic passers-by, sometimes grabbing them, sometimes binding and detaining them, as in Hope's. Is it a sketch? Is it a pastel? What do you?
It's a colored pencil sketch. Yes,
it's a colored pencil sketch, as in Hope's colored pencil sketch. The detained fish or sea life are then generally released and guided by a series of other kelp stalks to Octavia for further inspection. While neither our scientists nor our amateur observers of these residents of Octavia's ocean are quite sure what the nature of the interactions within the forest amount to, there are theories in abundance. Is Octavia a queen receiving tribute? Are Octavia and her sentient kelp assistants law enforcement of some kind? Are they providing health care? Or perhaps stealing valuables? It's worth noting that the fish and sea life accosted by the sentient kelp and Octavia herself seldom seem distressed, except the sea urchins who persist in attempting to eat the kelp. Those interactions are rare, as any sea urchins in Octavia's ocean tend to avoid this particular kelp forest, but those who do venture in do not venture out. So there's our sting, yeah.
Yeah, I should have had a sea urchin in there.
That's okay. Well, that's very cool. This is the first time I've seen Hope's sketch, so this is really beautiful to be able to look at that and see. Woohoo!
That was. And then there's little particulates in there, and that was kind of an accident. I was using this spray fixative, and it threw a bunch of boogers at it. It didn't go away. So I turned the boogers into, I don't know, sea snow, perhaps.
Yeah, it's a kelp forest. There's all kinds of stuff floating around in it.
They could be free moving. They could be just falling. I don't know.
Woohoo!
So yeah, that's what that was.
And there's the tentacle back there. Octavia's waiting. She's gonna get up. She's gonna get it.
This one was working in cahoots with the sea anemones, or not sea anemones, the sea urchins. Yeah. He was getting ready to get a talking to. Do not let those things into my house.
An interview with Octavia herself.
I don't think that would be good. Yeah, I think that'd be quite scary.
So yeah, I've thought about the inside of that cave-like structure also. Like if she keeps what she finds, how full is that getting at this point? She's been around a long time.
Maybe there's a back entrance that people come and take it away and sort it for her. I don't know. A labyrinth. There's a cave somewhere else that things keep showing up in and no one knows why.
Right. Right. Passage to another universe.
Yeah.
We're gonna get some speculations about that in the prequel. Like, okay, just because Casper Prime is pretty impermeable, does that mean all parallel universes are necessarily impermeable? Questions to ponder. As we play with the physics.
Yes. Like Play-Doh.
Because again,
that is what we did. It was fun. I had fun doing it. I wasn't sure. I knew I wanted to put a fish in there, but I wasn't sure which one. And this guy is just strange enough looking.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, let's put some blue-ringed octopus spots on him, of course, that kind of glow. I wanted to look like they were maybe had some bioluminescence going on. Oh, Amanda had a question. I had a question.
When is the prequel coming out? The prequel that was supposed to be out for spring break in 2021 is actually due to appear for spring break 2023.
It's still spring break.
It is gonna. I tried to shift the setting to fall. I don't like it as well with a fall setting. I've got another project that has kind of taken over the writing desk. And life is what it is right now. So I'm just gonna go with. I had a 2-year delay on the first novel because family stuff. A 2-year delay on a 20,000 word prequel because COVID. We're just gonna because COVID.
Yep.
All of the blah. Yep. Yeah, the edit, the big edit on the prequel is done. But I've still got bits and pieces to put together. Some little flash I want to add. And of course, a big part of the edit was having to spend about 6 or 8 weeks putting together a series Bible, because after the first novel, working on the second one, I only had the first novel to refer to. Now having more than twice the amount of text that was in the first novel, second novel was bigger than the first one. I realized part of what was slowing me down with the prequel was I had to keep looking stuff up, and I had to check both of those pieces. And our CVB guides. I have to make sure I incorporate our CVB guides here into the series Bible also. So I've now got a series Bible together, which is really, for those of you who are yourselves writing in series, your Bible is where kind of all the explanatory notes for a project go, all the things that you as the writer need to know, even if your audience never ever finds out about any of it. But it's correct spelling of all the names. I mean, it's in a way, it's what happens when a style sheet grows up and blossoms into, in my case, the series Bible is probably 10,000 words, because I'm also trying to keep straight how much of this is actual physics, how much am I bending that physics to tell the story, kind of stories I want to tell, where and how have I bent that physics, and how do I stay true to the rules I've set up, which, at some point veer away from the actual science, because plot, because story, because, that's, I am not alone in this regard. There are science fiction writers who place the science first. There are science fiction writers who place the story first. I am definitely in the latter category. My books are science-y.
Science like science,
Science,
or as my kids say, science adjacent.
science adjacent. I like it.
Yeah.
Science
Science
inspired. COVID is an excuse for. Here, we're just gonna go
Yeah.
with. Here we go.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, and Amanda, she's got great comments. More about what materials you use for the kelp picture.
Oh, excellent
All right.
question.
It is a Canson paper. I think it's Canson XL sketching paper in black. I'm kind of I'm learning to not like it because of the reflections it gives. And that's the reason why I couldn't get that kelp picture straight on.
Mhm.
And then the colored pencils are either Caran d'Arche, which is their Luminance.
Mhm.
And then there's another brand that I'm blanking on that are more the soft pastel, or not soft pastel. That's what I usually do. Colored pencils. And that black paper is that's fun. It's fun to sketch on, just because you don't have to do all of the values. You can just do a few at either at the beginning end and let the viewer's mind fill in the rest. So it's kind of a fun, quick shorthand for forms, and I really enjoy that. I did find though a black watercolor paper, and I think it's made by Legion Paper Company, and I'm going to try that. It seems to have less reflective properties than the drawing paper. So I would love to, like redraw these and massage them so they look more consistent style-wise, like they were all in some visitor's sketchbook. And so I may redo it on that paper. But yeah, thank you for asking, Amanda or Mandy. Great question.
Cool. Yep.
All right. So is there anything else you've got going, Marta, as we wrap this up?
Let's see. The Mandy asked the big question, which is like, okay, the prequel. The prequel. When is the prequel? The prequel novella, and also I should say, I've told various folks. I've said, I think at points on the channel, I was going to try to issue the prequel first in audio. That is not happening. Audible has closed their Audible Originals submissions, which was the whole point of putting it in audio, to be able to put it up as an Audible Originals submission. So I have gone ahead. I will be releasing it. I have to decide how I'm going to break it up. I will probably release it through Amazon's Vela program prior to that spring break date. The idea being to have the whole novella available by or around mid-March of next year. So the actual release will begin earlier than that. The Vela program is Amazon's answer to Radish and some other kind of the old fan fiction chapter at a time approach to serializing and releasing new work. And I say that like fan fiction invented that, like newspapers weren't doing that in the 19th century, but you get the idea. So the Vela program will allow me to release the Demeter West novella chapter by chapter. And so then the idea is the whole thing will be available mid-March. I will probably start that release sometime in early to mid-February in order to kind of hit that anticipation of spring break, which I know begins as soon as the kids hit campus January 15, or back to school, for elementary and high schools, back to school as of first week of January. So that's the prequel update. Novel 3 will probably be out. That's spring 2023. Spring 2024 would be super ambitious. Spring 2025 is probably a better bet for novel number 3. It will come out. I've forgotten that in the series, doing the series Bible. Really, I felt like opened the way for book 3 to be simpler in some ways than the novella was, because now I'm not looking everything up, or at least not having to spend so much time looking things up. And then the side project that has taken over the writing desk, that will go, I say side project, the other project, which is increasingly larger than The current novella, which is currently larger than the Demeter West novella, will probably be released next fall. So I'll have 2 novellas. If this works out the way I'm hoping, I'll have 2 novellas release next year. The second set of things is actually neither mystery nor science fiction, because of course it's, why work in a hybrid genre when I could dive straight ahead into something else?
Gotta keep it fun and exciting.
Yeah, the thing on the table right now is actually an academic romance, because these contemporary romance novellas are the new hotness right now for ebooks. And I read a couple and I was like, I could knock this out. And you know what? 25,000 words in about 6 weeks says, I can knock this out. So I have 4 of those planned. Those will probably appear approximately annually in the fall. We'll see what happens there, but hopefully. And those collectively are the Academia series.
Academia, ooh. I love it.
So yeah, just all kinds of writing fun.
Fabulous.
Yeah, not a lot of it organized or on schedule.
Organized, schmorganized, it'll organize itself when it needs it.
COVID. Yeah.
Yes, COVID is so much fun. Thankfully, whatever I've got is not COVID. Just cold. Still not fun.
Protective pentagram for you.
Well, very cool. You are busy as usual.
As I know
no trouble.
You are as well. Yep.
Yeah, well, aside from working on this with you, I've been doing the first Friday art walks in Herman.
Ooh, yay.
So it's about an hour from here. And it's out. So it's my first ever outside art show.
Okay.
So Bob's been a huge help. I could not have done this without his help. So he's been helping me pack and schlep to save my back. And then he's really good with the, Mr. Convention patter, so that I, remember to talk. Otherwise, I'd sit back in my corner and not doodle. Not so good at meeting people, though, but have met some great people. In fact, this coming Friday is the next one. So it's once a month for like from 3 to 7, so 4 hours.
Ooh, okay.
I thought this would be a good dipping that toe in the water, whereas other ones like, the locally here, the Art in the Park is, 2 days all day. And I know I'm not ready for that. I don't have the stuff, so yeah, that's the big thing. And I'm doing, so August, September, and then October is the last one. And supposedly October is the big one.
Oh yeah.
Everyone goes to, but I have nothing. And I've been racking my brain for concepts that would go with Oktoberfest. And nope, I got a vulture across the room. I'm thinking Halloween,
Yeah. Without talking too much out of school, I enjoyed Oktoberfest as a graduate student. And I've enjoyed Oktoberfest with my mother. Two very different experiences of Oktoberfest in Herman.
Oh yeah. Well, I will just be there for the art show on this one. But then aside from that, Cal is doing a new for them plein air event.
Okay.
In Rocheport, which is the other direction from here. So I am toying with that idea. All of the studies I did in preparation for the art show to have little pieces, so smaller price tag that could be there and available. Doing that has been great practice. Like, I can knock something out within 3 hours that I would be okay releasing. It's a possibility. Whereas before I was like, I don't think I could do that in pastels. So I'm like, maybe. I'll keep you posted.
Like learning to use a ring light, like learning to do this kind of thing. These are all of those skills that are part of getting art out into the world right now.
Getting it out there, getting that creativity out there and sharing it, hopefully inspiring someone in the process. So that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But those are my two big, let's see, are those all? Oh, I'm doing a pastel tutorial, working on that, like a full-blown
Cool.
started concept tutorial, not of, oh, this would make a good tutorial once I'm done.
Mhm.
So I had forethought to it. So I'm working on that. And that's proving the whole planning thing, Marta,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Making lists.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Watching the
It'll,
plans go away.
yeah. And go, oh, I should have had this down here. And anyway, so that's, I'm working on one of those to, in preparation. And then,
What's the quote? I love the sound a plan makes when it explodes.
they always do. Why is that?
Yeah.
So that's really what I got going on. Exploding plans instead of kittens. What is that? Should be a game. Instead of exploding kittens, we have exploding plans.
I'll get David on it, who is continuing to do game design work.
There we go. We'll just make this a whole big old family thing. Yeah.
Woohoo! All right. Well, Mandy, thank you so much for attending and commenting. It was lovely to be able to put the comments up. Hope, it's always so wonderful to see you.
Very good to see you, Marta. We need to do this just the two of us sometime. No plans for.
Right. We can just Zoom or FaceTime,
Yeah, just hang out.
Instead of like, hey, I haven't seen you in 6 months. Let's broadcast this out to the world.
Have some tea and yeah, I got mine, and.
Yep. Well, wonderful, folks. I think we are gonna wind it up for today. Come on back to our channels. I know mine has been, I'm just going to go with irregular of late and flash that COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be there when it gets there. And yeah, we're still here.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you all. Enjoy, have fun. Read, make art, create.
Do it. Now. Go.
Yeah, that's what we do.